Hey, I'd like to welcome you to another episode of Mission Matters. My name is Adam Torres, and if you'd like to apply to be a guest in the show, just head on over to missionmatters.com and click on Be Our Guest to Apply. All right, so today I have Jesse Williams, who is managing partner over at JM Williams CPA. Jesse, welcome back to the show.
Thank you. Thanks for having me again.
All right. One of my favorite guests, and I'm excited to talk about today's topic. So the new book, what you wrote about coaching, and I mean, we're finally out there with it in terms of the content. And first off, I just have to ask, how do you feel?
It feels good, actually. Like every time I post about it, everyone just gets so happy about it, and they're sharing and they're sending me pictures that they purchase it. It's more surreal than I thought it would be. And I'm being forced to sign it today, later today.
Hold on. So the first time I'll take myself back to the financial advisor days, and I'll tell you right now, the first time I had a book and I was at an event and somebody asked me to sign it, I had that moment where I'm like, what? Like why or how? But it's fun, right?
I don't know. I'll let you know this afternoon. And I have to say that I was like, look, it's a book with entrepreneurs, and I have one chapter. Okay.
Yeah. It's amazing. And so we'll get this episode started kind of the same way we start them all with our Mission Matters Minute. And now I'll be asking you this question as a published author on your end. So we at Mission Matters, we amplify stories for entrepreneurs, executives, and experts. That's our mission. Jesse, what mission matters to you?
Absolutely coaching. Coaching in any way, shape, or form, whether it's formal, informal, giving back, mentoring, being a service to someone else that you could help, because that has been very impactful for me in my career, even as an undergraduate student, a graduate student, just someone just for no reason, nothing to gain, just say, hey, try this, look into this. I think you should look at that. And I've always listened or give it some thought, take some approach, and took action. And it always worked, to be quite honest with you. And to be honest, one of the first person that I remember off the top of my head who have done that for me very selflessly, she actually called me and said to me that she's buying my book. I didn't even know she followed me on social media. So, yeah.
And what you wrote about specifically, so the value of coaching. And when I think about even your approach to your day-to-day as a CPA and helping business owners and executives with what they do, I don't want to assume that all of our new viewers and listeners caught some of our previous episodes. So maybe just start off with a little bit more about JM Williams.
So we are your typical tax and accounting firms in terms of service. We're not typical in how we service our clients, because we don't want you to think, if you think of your father CPA, we're like the complete opposite. We like to use technology a lot. We like to make things easier for the client, seamless and efficient. So in that aspect, we do like to have awesome clients. So we do like to educate, and there's always free education going on, because the best customers are your most informed and educated customers. So we do a lot of that, and anywhere we could look to see where we could help our clients, whether they ask for it or not, we would say, hey, I do see some room there where we could do some savings. Would you allow us to do some digging, do an analysis, and come back and get some concrete numbers and see if we could save you some money on taxes? We do have a coaching part of things, because there are a lot of small business owners, because you have small business owner as defined by America, but then you have the guys who just started something yesterday with no capital, absolutely no money in the bank, and they are very clueless as to what needs to be done, what things need to have in order, just to keep the IRS, Uncle Sam, at bay and don't get into trouble. So some stuff like that, we do like to educate and teach as much as we can. We have some formal training as well. We do some webinars, seminars, some just formal coaching, anywhere that we could see where we could do with some help. Simple stuff like paying estimated taxes is a workshop that I did a couple of weeks ago.
I want to hear more about your kind of the inspiration. So when I think of you, first off, I think of you, of course, as a coach. I mean, I've learned a lot from you through our clubhouse events that we host, where you've been on panels multiple times, and every time we interact, I mean, because you talk to so many business owners, so many startups, you help a lot of people. So I always learn from you. But when you originally brought the content to us for the book, I figured you might go in that direction, but I'd like to hear from your words, the author, like what was some of the inspiration for writing about coaching for our readers?
You know, when you have to write something and you look at your career and you look at just your journey, forget your career, your journey in life, and how did you get to where you are? If you're somewhat happy where you are or where you're going, where the part of the journey you're in. And a lot of that is owed to people around you. Yes, you're the only one that did the work. You are responsible for what has happened. But there's so many things that happen that turn me in one direction as opposed to the other. I have to say that I've always sought advice from people, even having to pick a major in accounting. I remember when I was probably 16 and just the weight of the world on me to pick a major. Literally, you're telling me at 16 years old, I have to pick something that I have to do for the rest of my life. And not having,
I don't want to do that now at 40, by the way.
Right. There was no one to tell me, like, look, don't sweat it too much. Chances are you're going to evolve and change and grow. You may not even do that. And, you know, it so happened that I changed major and came back to it. And then I realized that I like taxes more. And now I realize that I actually like coaching more. Yeah. So I do think that when I look at my journey, is always people that has helped my journey, where it's a professor that had me do some taxes just to see if I would like it at their office, where there's a friend that told me you should go to this conference. If your major is accounting, do you plan on taking the CPA exam? Which I didn't know what that was. I didn't know what it was. So I'm like, I guess I'll take it. Yeah. And then, you know, just people just sharing information is what I think I owe a lot of my success to. I'll never forget this one lady, Simona Young. She was the most influential person I've met in college. I would say so. And then she put me on to an organization called NABA, the National Association for Black Accountants. And then you meet people who are doing the same thing you're doing, because a world that you know nothing about, now all of a sudden you have friends. And just now I'm in a tax guru group. I'm in a mastermind with women who own their own business, who are killing it. More than I am too, so I look up to them. They are a form of mentors, and I've seeked coaching too. You know, anything that I want to do in life that I know nothing about, I'm going to either read a book. If I want to learn it like yesterday, I'll get a coach. I'll pay for it. I'll ask someone that I know who is already doing it, because people love talking about what they've done and they love to share. So that's one of my biggest passions in life. Just wanting to be of service to someone that it's not going to take a lot of effort out of me to just share my experience and what has helped me. And maybe that could help that person along the way.
Yeah. So one of the things that I thought about when I read your chapter, and it comes across, and then the more that we speak and the more, you know, that you've been on the show, like authenticity, like that word always comes to mind when I think of you. And the reason is because, like, as I've heard, you know, like things that you talk about with your brand or just your day-to-day life, like I follow you on Instagram and I see, you know, the fitness posts and everything else. So when I saw like the, you know, the writing, or kind of like the analogy or anecdote in the book talking about like fitness and other things like that, it just made sense. And I'm like, of course, it's Jessie, of course. So can you comment like on how fitness and these challenges, like how does this all play into this brand?
Well, you know, being an entrepreneur, like there's so many different versions of us. And I think that we have to show up every day at work, right? Because we're always working. Even when we think we're not, we're selling, we represent our brand, our company. And for me to be better, I always, you know, I have to eat well. I have to be up, and I just got into fitness and it made me feel good. So whenever I have to challenge myself to make myself, let's say I wanted to climb a rope. What year we had COVID? That exact same year, got in the gym right after New Year's. And it took me like 2 months to learn how to climb a rope. And I didn't think I could do it. And then you just keep doing something else. And it makes it, if you apply that to your job, it's the same thing. You want to learn how to do something and you just do it. You get someone that can help you, or you just diligently at it every single day. Even healthy habits. Like I have a health coach where it's like a life coach, she's into fitness, nutritionist as well, all of that into one person I speak to at least. Sometimes during busy season, I need it like once a week. Now I go once a month, but just having healthy habits, healthy routines that can help you perform as an entrepreneur that doesn't get to turn off as much as if I had a 9 to 5, or, even if I was working for someone else, I could show up at work and be physically there, but I could tap out mentally if I wanted to, but I can't do that now. So, fitness is my go-to. I started meditating too, just to change my mood, because sometimes you get anxious, sometimes you get angry, and I can't afford to let that emotion carry me throughout the day. You can imagine getting one bad phone call and it didn't go well and your whole day is ruined. I don't have that luxury. So
400-pound tire. I mean, this is a story. When I heard this, when I saw it, I'm like, yeah, that's pretty amazing. Number one. So tell us the 400-pound tire story.
So for anyone who's listening, what Adam is,
I love it. It's so good.
There's a tire. So I do like a strong man workout sometimes, or it's linked somehow to CrossFit. And I see people lifting tires, and I'm like, I want to lift a tire, and it's all about.
Me too, because who does that? I want to lift a tire too. I love it. Go ahead, please.
Can you imagine you walking in the street and a big person wants to mess with you? Like you could take them. Like they're probably 300 pounds. The tire is 400. It's easy. So I just wanted to learn how to flip it, so I started with 200. Naturally, I start small, and it's all about technique too. I'm not using much upper body. I'm using a lot of, like, I'm trying to run through the tire, if you will, like a quarterback.
It's awesome. It's a great story. And to me, what like one of the takeaways that I get from this is that us as entrepreneurs, right, and business owners, executives out there, it's like we're not always going to have everything figured out. We need to, get outside of our comfort zone daily, depending on where you're at in business, right? And ideally in some way, shape, or form, and just kind of push forward. And in this case, push through the tire to, to lift it and to set new goals and new challenges for ourselves to keep life interesting, fun, and to keep the needle moving on your business, if that's one of your goals. So I understand you got another tire in your eyesight, or is that right?
I'm trying to. I think the next one. So 400 is fine now. It's manageable depending on the workout. I think there's a 5 or a 6. I'm not sure. Oh my gosh!
All right, I'm done.
Yeah,
I had to ask. I just knew. I didn't even know, but I knew to ask this question. I'm like, of course.
But I don't have a huge desire to do that. So I use those things, as a challenge, and this was business. Like one of the things I had to master is sales. Like I could hire a sales guy, but I also have to. I'm not going to get a sales guy who could talk to the clients the way how I could. I'm not going to get. It's very unheard of for an accounting firm to hire a sales rep. So I'm not going to find very easily a representative who has experience in selling the services we provide. And people are going to want to ask questions. So, anyone who owns a company, they want to have questions, and the sales guy is not going to answer it. So I have to be the best salesperson I want to be. I have a coach for that. So, I'm constantly improving my skills because, that's what you have to do. The minute you stop learning, that's the minute you're behind the curve, because things change so often, you get left behind.
So you're known as a growth coach. For those out there that maybe haven't, explored coaching, or maybe they have, but they haven't necessarily worked with somebody like yourself, let us know a little bit more about what a growth coach is.
So a growth coach is what I have. That's someone that's helped me grow my business. For me, is that I do come across a lot of s- new beginners, entrepreneurs who love to say they hate numbers, they stay away from numbers. And I
Yeah.
think it's a statement that we all laugh at, and it's funny, and you say it, but I don't think any successful business person is bad with numbers in that sense, because your success have to be intentional. I mean, there is stuff that just happens, right? But to
Mhm.
sustain success and the level of income you want, you have to be able to track and be constantly looking at the numbers. So that's what I teach and coach my clients through, is that you have to constantly be looking at the numbers. What is your indicator of success? What do you need to do if you want to hit sales of 1 million? What do you need to do today to get to that million? Constantly tracking that and improving. So that's something that I teach my clients, whether it's paid or not paid, but it's something that is very important. You got to know your numbers until you get to a point where you're too busy and you hire someone to do it. And at that point, you're aware of what's going on. So no one needs
Yeah.
to explain to you your own numbers. And, you don't want to get up financials and you don't know what's in it. That's kind of not cool at all.
Yeah, you have to be able to speak the language. That's the bottom line. Like have to be able to speak the language. And for some, that comes easier for some than others. But either way, over time, especially as revenue grows and as the complexity of the business grows, like you don't want to be blindsided. Have to be able to speak the language. And that's one of the great things I think about, in like working with you and just your whole methodology and approach is that you already have that side so strong, and that's like a core of what you do. But you also have the coaching side too.
Yeah.
So in my opinion, it's like the perfect 1-2 punch. I also know that you also work with individuals that are transitioning to becoming entrepreneurs, or people that have left the corporate world and things like that. What are some of the transition or challenges that you see they face when you're working with them? Like, what are some of those common themes? Obviously, everybody's going to be different, right? Different wants and needs, but I know themes kind of can repeat themselves.
They can, and I'm finding the sweet spot in finding people who are me 6 years ago, where I could help anyone transition into any role that they want to go to. But a lot of us don't just quit our day job and just dive in, right?
Yeah.
I think that is nice to do. It sounds nicely, but for those who are scared and have their responsibilities of maybe you're a husband, a wife, single mom, you have kids, you got a mortgage. It's kind of scary to just quit your job and just go in cold turkey, and you don't really sure how it's going to plan out, like I did. But a lot of us have it as a side gig, and the first thing is to stop thinking of it as a side gig and prepare this baby that you have as a side gig to be something big, and to set up those tools now. That's number one. Obviously, there's a mindset thing we have to work on as well. It's just what point you want to quit your day job to do this. Do you ever want to quit your day job? Like, what's the goal here? But the passion for me is finding accountants who are sitting miserably in public accounting. They have secretly a book of clients, and they do want to quit, but not sure if they can, because they pay pretty well in accounting, not as much if you look at the hours, and it's hard to leave 6 figures and just start from scratch. So it could be done. I've done it, and I wanted to be able to share what I've done to help them. Someone helped me along that journey as well. But I think it is important for people to figure out a strategy, your goal, strategy, plan, and implement that plan every single day. That's what that's what my secret formula is, really.
And so what, whether it's on the coaching side or whether it's working as a tax and strategy side of with JM Williams, I mean, what's typically a good fit to work with you and your team? Like, what type of client?
We want people, honestly, that is willing to be coached, whether they are just coming us for, we do CFO service, tax planning, tax preparation. So whether you're coming for us for just that or coaching, you got to be coachable, because there's a reason why you moved or you got someone new. There's a reason why you're hiring us, because maybe you didn't care for your last person, or they can't grow with you as fast as you would like them to. Whatever the case is, there has to be some type of coachability there. Growth is very important to us as well, because we can't stay at the same place all the time. I need my clients to give up all the financial stuff they're doing, let us take it over, and I want them to be a true CEO and get more clients so they can make money and I could charge them more, essentially, and we all could be happy. So that's essentially what is a good fit for us. Obviously there's a nice sweet spot for what they're bringing in. We have a minimum we could work with, but if we can't work with you because you're probably too small, we want to give you the tools and coach you through, whether it's a one-time coaching, or maybe we could connect you with, maybe you just need a bookkeeper and not like a full CPA who look at everything big picture. So if we can't help you in the capacity that we work normally, we would pass you on to someone else or give you some tools in which you could use. Something I've told people, I don't think you should hire a CPA. I think you should get this software and track it, and let me touch base with you in 3 months. And
going back to what I said, like the word when I think of you and what you're doing, authenticity, right? Like for everybody watching, like you wouldn't expect a managing partner, the founder of a CPA firm to say, hey, if I think there's a better way to do it that doesn't involve paying XYZ, then I'm going to tell you. Right. Like that's the way it should be. And that's why you do good business. And that's why people love you. Like that's the reason. And that's what goes back to that word, authenticity. So it's good stuff. Any particular, just to maybe ask another follow-up question to that one, is any specific industries versus others, or pretty agnostic across the board on that end?
It's across the board. I'm gonna get a little secret. Everyone thinks their industry is special. But it's not. Like I get people
definitely media industry special. No, I'm just playing.
Is that I'll get someone, hey, have you worked with media clients before? And I'm like, I'm gonna say no, and that's gonna deter you, but I always have to come back and say, hey, we have in the past, is there a particular reason why you asked that question? There is a little specialty about I think some industry, like real estate, like you have to understand certain things. So when it comes to property management in the space of real estate, that's my favorite set of clients to work with. More so property developers. They are my favorites to work with. They are about the community because they're developing their community, right? They tend to want to keep the dollar in their community. They care about their people for the most part. I've seen. I'm thinking of a very special client I had years ago. I just love working with people who want to grow their people, grow their community, and the thing is growth, and that's the thing. They're always looking for our next project and this and that and expanding because that's just their nature. So that's my favorite to work with. If I get two of those, they're always doing something new. So I'm always with them have a new project to work with. I do like working with real estate investors and people who just want to just make more money. Those are my favorites to work with because they understand scaling, they understand time, they respect your time. They just get it. That's just been my experience. The more real estate. Have I worked with media? Yeah, in the past. I've done production companies and stuff like that, and just knowing how working in different states, if you're shooting in this state versus that state, how the states work. So that could be tricky, but it could be profitable as well. But it's pretty much across the board. A lot of the things that we don't know, we research, and research is a big part of what we do. I know people expect us to know everything, but even something we think we know, we still got to go back and research it. So research is huge, and I pretty much feel comfortable doing anything. I'll just research it. That's all.
So Jessie, I know you're a busy woman, a lot on your plate. Excited to hear more and to work more with you on this book promotion, and then to learn more about your coaching and what you're doing there. And just you're just such a welcome member of our community overall, and I'm always thankful for your time. But that being said, I have to ask. So what's next on the agenda? What's next for you? What's next for Jan Williams?
Well, I honestly, the coaching program is what I'm really trying to develop more and to get more people in a more structured school setting, I would say. But honestly, I would love to do two things. And I have to be very careful because, we get so excited as entrepreneurs, we're dreamers sometimes. I do want to do a podcast. And I do want to do a podcast because I love talking to other business owners, and that's my main love of it. Then also too, more speaking engagement. So anything around speaking and sharing is what I would want to do. And that may come more towards the last quarter of the year. Yeah. We want to enjoy our summer. And I think with podcasts and speaking engagements, you got to really commit your time to it. So I think I'll have more time coming down to October, November, December.
I'm going to be, you shouldn't even have said the word podcast. You're going to be, I'm going to bug you to launch your show on our network because we already love your content and it's just on our end. We're a privilege to be able to continue to spread your name, to spread your message, and to really let our audience benefit from it as well. And we've benefited from your coaching as well. So all great stuff there. So that being said, Jesse, if somebody's watching this and they want to learn more about how to connect with you and your team, whether it's on the coaching, whether it's about Jan Williams or both, how do people follow up with you?
The best way to get in touch with me is email. You can always look me up. All my information is on our website, social media, and it's always the same, jmwilliamscpa.com, jmwilliamscpa in my Instagram, Facebook, and Jesse at janwilliamscpa.com is my email address. I do answer emails way quicker than anything else in the phone these days because, I could be running around. I could just answer it quickly as opposed to sitting at my desk and taking a call. So email is best, and then we can schedule something when it fits both of our schedules.
Awesome. And we'll put all that information in the show notes, of course, so that our audience can just check it out and head right on over. And speaking of the audience, if this is your first time with Mission Matters or engaging in an episode or the platform, we're all about bringing on entrepreneurs, executives, experts that are mission-based, that have a good story to tell, and that we all have something to learn from them about. If that's the type of content that sounds interesting or fun or something that you're into, hit that subscribe button because we have many more mission-based individuals coming on the line, just like Jesse. And we don't want you to miss a thing. And Jesse, congrats. Thrilled to have published your work and excited to continue this promo with you. So thanks again for coming back on the show.
Thank you. I appreciate it.